K2 News has a crew in New Orleans right now. Reporter Brian Barker and photographer Beth English are in the disaster zone. They're embedded with members of the Oregon National Guard who are helping in relief efforts. We have Brian live on the phone right now. Brian, first of all, tell us what you saw as you drove into town today.
Dan, I'll tell you, it was absolutely incredible. Really hard to put into words. We drove in coming from Baton Rouge, and we are standing here at the Naval Air Station in New Orleans. It's south of the downtown area. And as you drive through town, it's just overwhelming. The pictures you see on TV really can't describe the scope of the devastation here. We're talking about an area, close to the size of Portland, and you drive out into the suburbs, which you don't really see on TV. The suburbs aren't underwater, but many parts of them are completely leveled. The phone lines are down. There are abandoned cars everywhere. It's truly the most incredible scene of devastation I have ever seen, and there are very few people left here in New Orleans.
So, Brian, that was my next question. You're saying not a lot of people in the city. Have they moved out to the suburbs or just even beyond that?
Yeah, they've really evacuated this entire area, and it's pretty much, a few stragglers and then police officers, and the military presence here is incredible. It's like a war movie that you see, a bad war movie. It seems like, there can't be that many military people on the ground in one city. Well, there are. I'm standing here at a base where 30,000 National Guards people are expected to come through and then move out into the city. And I'm here with members of the Oregon National Guard. A total of roughly 2,000 are expected to come out here in the next couple of days, 500 at a time. And there are 142 Oregon National Guardsmen and some Air Force security police officers here as well. In fact, a group of them is shipping out tonight to go take care of their sector in Orleans Parish, which is just east of downtown New Orleans.
Now to the latest on the Hurricane Katrina recovery effort. Citizens still holding out in New Orleans are being forced out amid growing fears of a disease outbreak there. K2's John Capel will have the latest on more Oregon soldiers heading to the disaster zone.
We begin with K2's Brian Barker live in New Orleans, where Oregon soldiers are forcing some people out. Brian?
Yeah, they sure are, and here's why. They say the water's getting lower in New Orleans. Well, down here at Canal near Bourbon Street, you can see it really hasn't changed much in the past couple of days. It's the same story from here, pretty much all the way over to where the Oregon National Guard is. There are 1,800 Oregon National Guardsmen on the ground, and because the mayor gave that order that people who have decided to stick around can be forced to move out, our Oregon Guardsmen are playing a big role in making that happen.
The police force actually withdrew last night because it was just too much of a hot zone.
Welcome to the worst of it. This Winn-Dixie grocery store is now a lonely outpost for a few Oregon soldiers.
Surprisingly, they didn't take as much alcohol as I thought that they'd take.
PFC Megan Dooley was studying at the University of Portland last week. Now she patrols this looted store.
I know, it's like a whole nother world here. It's like at the movies. You walk around and it's a ghost town.
The store was a source of food for hurricane victims, but now they've been told to stop passing it out. If there's no food available, these people will get hungry and have to leave.
Do you trust anybody to take care of your home as well as you can?
We're trying to reestablish order here, and it's very hard to do that with people holding up.
Driving along, you can see that so much of Task Force Oregon's neighborhood is underwater.
Unfortunately, it is for their own good. Their sanitation is the big concern. Disease is a very big concern with these folks that are living in there right now.
Oregon soldiers have confiscated nearly a dozen city buses. They're using them as rescue vehicles. So far, they've evacuated nearly 100 people. And boats bring in more every few hours.
That's what I'm here for. If I wasn't wearing this, I'd probably be doing the same thing.
But some of them will never leave. Here, a man's body lies at a gas station. He was shot in the face. Elsewhere, in flooded neighborhoods, other bodies float, chained to stop signs. A sobering reminder of how horrible this disaster really is. And back here near Bourbon Street, take a look at this water. It is thick and green and is full of gasoline and raw sewage. Well, this stuff is everywhere. The people in the Oregon National Guard sector, they're living amongst this stuff. And there are puddles of water like this also where the Oregon National Guard is, in fact, just right in front of where they're staying. And what's happening is as this water starts to dry up, it's been really hot, it turns into mud, and that dried sewage turns into this mud, and then it's blowing around in the dust, so everyone's breathing the dust into their nostrils that also comes from this water, which they've already said is very dangerous. We are live on Canal Street tonight in New Orleans. Brian Barker, K2 News.
Brian, thank you very much. And as Brian just mentioned, one of the main reasons for the forced evacuations is the serious health threat posed by that contaminated water. At least 5 deaths have been linked to the sewage-filled water in New Orleans. The people were killed by a bacteria similar to cholera. In Houston, 200 people are being treated for a serious intestinal virus, and doctors are worried it could spread in the crowded conditions of shelters like the Astrodome. ABC News asked a microbiologist to test the floodwaters from New Orleans. He found total sewage bacteria in the water 45,000 times higher than what would be considered safe for swimming in a pond or a lake. You can actually see the contamination under a black light there. The floodwater sample on the far right is lit up, full of disease-causing bacteria.
And a Tigard home has opened its doors to a family who escaped from Hurricane Katrina. 2 kids and 5 grown-ups from New Orleans just arrived in the Northwest after a cross-country road trip. K2's Susan Harding has their story in a 2 exclusive.
Candace Zelaya and her young family had never envisioned a future in Tigard, Oregon.
And so we thought maybe we would have a little bit of water in the house, but we never imagined really that we wouldn't be able to go back.
So we know we've got a good 8 to 10 feet of water in our house.
A satellite photo reveals the terrible truth. The Zelaya's New Orleans neighborhood in St. Bernard Parish now looks like a lake with rows of rooftops. They had packed expecting to be gone 3 to 4 days.
Basically, I've been going room by room in my mind of the things that didn't make it into the car. Baby books for the kids and for me, all their toys.
What's up, Doc?
For 3-year-old Isabel, it meant leaving behind her cherished My Little Ponies. When their cross-country trip ended at her aunt's Tigard home, Isabel got a surprise, a purple pony like her favorite back home.
She just started shaking and squealing and jumping up and down and running through the house showing everybody.
6-year-old Alex believes Katrina didn't harm his Batman toys.
It has 2 motorcycles. It's in my mama's house, but I think it's okay.
I think kids handle these things very well.
But for the parents, it's a future filled with questions.
When asked what we need, it's hard to say because we're still coming to grips with what we've lost.
You know, we have to figure out where we're going to be able to work, where we're going to be able to find housing, good schools for the kids, and it's just something that's going to take a little while to figure out.
On day 1 in their temporary Tigard home, the future can wait. Right now, they're holding on to each other, knowing they are survivors. In Tigard, Susan Harding, K2 News.
And the family says their first priority is getting their kids enrolled in a Washington County school.
Most of the hurricane evacuees had to leave their pets behind, and while many animals died, hundreds were scooped up and put into crowded shelters, but some remain locked up in their houses alone. K2's Brian Barker tagged along with Oregon Humane Society volunteers in New Orleans who are breaking into homes for a different kind of rescue mission.
Hello from New Orleans, from a relatively untouched neighborhood here. You know, when a lot of people left for the hurricane, they left their pets behind. So members of the Oregon Humane Society, 4 of them, are here helping out those who were left behind, and it's a big job. 13 days, no food, no water. This is a last desperate attempt. 2 cats live here.
Are you in here?
And this Humane Society team from Oregon is here to see if they're still alive. The homeowner gave them permission to break in.
Hey, guys.
Cats like to hide, though, and these never appear. But the team leaves food and water and moves on. Even if they found the animals, the shelters are full, so the mission today is just to keep them alive.
A lot of people say, well, that's crazy to go in there, but, you know, if not us, who? I mean, these animals are sitting there, they're suffering, they're gonna die if somebody doesn't go in there and get them.
Everywhere you look, nearly every block, there's a lonely pet scavenging for food. Oregon soldiers have seen them roaming in packs, killing and eating the weak ones.
SPCA, anybody home?
There are hundreds of volunteers from the Humane Society here. And for this Portland team, hundreds of addresses to break into and check out. The animals are hard to find, but the team spray paints a mark on the house to show they've checked. Not far away, 3 dogs at 2 homes. Someone left signs outside, but it's not clear what to do with them, so they leave food anyway.
Well, if it was me, I'd be worried sick. So I'm hoping that we're bringing a little bit of comfort to them, knowing that we're here trying to rescue their animals.
Cutie. Oh, that's okay. Certainly rescuing animals is a very small part of the huge humanitarian effort going on here. 1,800 Oregon soldiers are here in Louisiana, in addition to members of the Mercy Corps and Northwest medical teams. Their priority, of course, are human beings, but who evacuated and will come home, their pets are very special. In New Orleans, Brian Barker, K2 News.